All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Galactic Explorers with myself, Daniella, and the lovely Miss Dallas, your favorite channelers, bringing you the galactic perspectives on all kinds of subjects from the everyday to scientific, metaphysic, and all of the wonderful things. So today we have got some topics from the bowl that we want to pull and see what,
Where do we
what we
want to
want to say.
go? Where does the energy of today want to take us?
Jinx, owe me a Coke.
I love the universe so much in so many ways. Over focus on inner work.
Look here.
What were we just like talking about?
Literally. Okay. You know, it's funny. You think that we planned this
Right, we don't. I promise. Swear on
because
all that.
almost every time we pull something from the bowl, we say that we were just talking about it either right before we got on or just the other day when we were talking, or like it just came up over here for us. Or so you would think that, that we load the bowl with no,
Nope.
no.
Literally, I just pulled it, and that's what happened. That's what we're going to talk about because that's what we all need, I guess, right now.
That's what we're
Not
talking
to
about today.
focus on the shit we're processing
Yep.
because that's a thing.
That's going to be a good one. So the shit you process, over focusing on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does that look like? I was gonna say, what does that look like for you? Because we were just talking, it's like, what is when you end up over focusing or over criticizing or do, like, I guess that's an answer to it too. But it's like when you end up over focusing, what does that look like? How does that manifest? How does it show itself in a pattern? Like, how do you catch yourself in a loop?
I
What does
think,
that look like?
right. For me, it's habits,
Mm-hmm.
right? And seeing the pattern of those habits. So I was, if I start spinning out, I go back to my comfort,
Yeah.
right? I go back to what was comforting for me. And I go back and I go, oh, wait, why do I need chocolate right now? Do I really need all this chocolate?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need this bag of chips? Do I really need this? Or do I need to like get up? So for me, it's going back on habits and comfort, what's comforting for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a part that I will have my pity party.
Yep.
And go,
Too many of those.
I'm a little victim. look at all this shit. It's just why? And then it's like, oh, no, okay, stop. So that's how I will. I see it though, and I'm aware of it now, especially this past weekend.
Right.
But that's how I will. I kind of over focus, and then I kind of go into a little story.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't make up a story. I kind of will go, whatever the situation is, I'll kind of go and like replay it, and then like what could have, should have.
Oh, the sisters of regret. Shoulda, coulda, and woulda.
Right? Oh yeah, they come in, and then I go, okay, and then I go to get out of it. Right? Yeah, I go to my friend or my husband. I go, okay, and then it's like, oh, thank you for showing me. Thank you for letting me have this pity party for a minute. How's it look like for you?
I was going to say it's interesting because we go through these periods of doing the inner work. Like we were just talking about it, how you work on it and you're doing really good and you're liking how you're feeling and you're liking, like the synchronicities and all the stuff that's coming around and right? Getting really inspired, really motivated. And then all of a sudden you wake up and like you said, it's like you start tripping yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
Having a pity party. All of a sudden questioning your worth. all of a sudden, it's like questioning your validity. And you're like, oh, wait now.
Yep.
It's an interesting mechanism by the ego of having you like over focus on the negative parts of what you're quote unquote doing the inner work on.
Right. Yep. Well, and
It's like it shows up in a big way. So it's like the closer you are to actually breaking through whatever layer it is that you're working on, it'll all of a sudden kind of show up and rear its head and roar at you in a really big way to try and scare you off from working on it anymore, to like change your vibration, bring you back down, take your focus off of it, put you into that pity party. So that's where your focus is and your attention is. So it's almost like the over focus on the, what is it? I guess the content or the topic of the inner work can be
right. Well, I
sometimes
think
used
like
by the ego to like, sidetrack you.
right, and it's
And that's how it shows for me, at least. Is
right.
that, when I get to feel like I get to going, as it were, like I'll just wake up and all of a sudden, like you were saying, wake up, have a pity party. I'm like, what?
Right. Or something triggers you, and then that
Yeah,
trigger is like, why is this always happening to me? Right. And then
right.
you go into that inner work. Well, I'm
Yeah,
doing this, right?
yeah.
When it's like, oh, it's just showing you what you've been working on to see how you're going to react now to it. Right. And so our ego and our comfort levels and our habits and our patterns cycle back into that belief system of
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worthy of living or doing or having or
Uh-huh,
whatever it
uh-huh,
is that
uh-huh.
lingers into you. So the ego will keep you back to going to your comforts of I'm blah,
Right.
instead of going, oh, thank you. And I'm not going to react to that. It's, but it's a process. And I think it's something where you're never going to go, I'm a master and nothing will ever bother me.
Yeah, people
But
think
then
that's
you're
what
not going to learn.
they think that that's what it's supposed to look like.
Right, and it's not. You got to learn and expand, and you go through the layers, right? It's all
Right.
about the layers.
Because there's always going to be new stuff that comes up that reflects off of a new
Yeah,
layer,
exactly.
a new boundary, a new experience, like a new, it's like always you trying to figure out who you are. So like the idea, the metaphor just came to mind of the kid that's always like poking you to test your limit.
Hmm.
But it's like you're always poking yourself to test your own limits, always kind of to see who you are. It's like you're not even in a competitive way. It's just exploring your own individual character and preferences and personality and all of those things.
Right,
So it will always present something to you regardless of what layer you're on, because you're always going to be from higher self to this like self-testing, because then like
right,
you said, in the answer, in the response is the like was understanding of the experience of where you're at,
right.
which
Yeah.
is experience for higher self, which is what the point, right?
Hmm.
It's like people think that, yeah, doing your inner work, that's another way the ego will like make you over focus on it and make you think you're not doing good enough too, is that it will say it's like, oh, well, you're supposed to be experiencing this in XYZ of way and not being bothered by anything and be
Right,
totally zenned out and mastered and, like all of this, completely detached and all of these things and not get emotionally involved and all of this stuff. And it's like, well, you're human. You're supposed to be, it's like you're
yeah, you're
playing a
human.
human game and emotions are part of the human game. That was part of the deal. And so like you got to learn how to play with those tools
Right.
instead
And
of letting them play you. But for instance, right, it's always like a back and forth just to see who you are. But your
hmm.
ego will make you think that it's supposed to look like something when it doesn't in reality and experience normally ever happen like that at all.
Right.
So to not get discouraged on yourself if you don't see that happening, like if you still get mad at stuff, well, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, you're human, going to get mad at stuff.
Right, you're gonna get mad, and it's okay to get mad.
You're,
And it's
you're actually supposed to get mad at stuff because it tells you that whatever you're being mad at is not in your character.
right. So it's giving you a chance to change that.
Yeah, so you want to change that. Yeah. So you're not mad anymore. Right. That's your emotions. You using your emotions as a tool. Yeah. But yeah, totally. So the ego is like over focusing on the inner work.
Right. And I think, another layer of that is like judgment, right, on yourself and from others. If you're seeing yourself outside of yourself because you're comparing yourself. And when we do that, then that's another over focus of you're putting your energy outwards of what I should be.
Right.
Instead of going, what do I really need right now?
Yeah.
How does this
who am I? Who am I?
Right. Who am I? How am I going to process this?
Yeah. How am I going to respond?
There's people that show you tools in a certain way, but it doesn't mean that you have to follow that exact way.
Excuse me.
Right.
Damn right. I don't know if the mic picked that one up.
No, you're good. I didn't hear anything. But clear the demons out today.
Release the demons.
You hail, child.
I'm always releasing demons on this damn podcast. You're always hearing me.
Right, we're always processing. That's the why. That's the hey, see.
That's weird. Yeah, we're just bringing that energy out, and hopefully you guys are randomly belching too. It's
Or farting,
farting,
or going to the bathroom a lot,
or feeling the need to get up and stretch and
run around, dance, laugh, scream, cry. That's all.
I was gonna say, or sometimes pass out because that's one of those fun sleep weird ascension symptom-y things too. Is like if you need to process something on another level and your consciousness is kind of getting your awake belief system consciousness is getting in your way, your system will sometimes make you go like, I think it's the nap time, and try and get you to sleep so you can take it in.
That's one of the things that for me, I do sleep or have these little naps here and there. And I've realized it was just me getting out of my own way for my body to process. And so like when I have clients like, oh, I'm probably going to fall asleep. I'm like, I hope you do. Because that way you're processing and you just let your body
you're not getting in your own way. Yeah, you're not.
Right. Yeah. So it's okay.
Speaking of overthinking and overfocusing, yeah, you're not thinking about what the experience is supposed to be like. So you're not sitting there anticipating feeling something, not feeling something. Yeah. So it's
right. If you're focused on it, right? Like, why am I so tired? Is something wrong with me? Like, no, maybe you just need to rest.
Maybe you
let your body
process down for a minute and
download or whatever it is, or what maybe you need water, maybe you need to check in with yourself. I think it shows you on so many levels of how your body is a tool. And when you honor it, and you start working with it in that way, you get out of that over focus on stuff because you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go take a nap. And not, oh, I can't take a nap, I have so much to do. Okay. Yeah. Because that's an over focus. You're extending yourself outwards.
Right.
Inner work is just not the spiritual. It's really taking care of yourself in a different way too.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because it's understanding the whole idea that if you don't take care of yourself, you can't put the best energy out there either for your own means or to help others.
Right.
But it's like we're so used to running on fumes, as it were. Like we're so used to that feeling being normal rather than actually feeling balanced.
Right.
That that's a big hurdle for a lot of people.
You know what it is?
To stop and take those breaks because they think that they have to go. They think that they, like it can't be done without them, or they can't train people or find people to help them with it, or like, what I mean?
Yep. Like that's
another level. That's a whole nother level that a lot of people are dealing with, is that it's like, oh, it can't be done without me, or I need to handle this all the time, or I have to take care of this. leading into like worthiness stuff where it's like, validating your place in life, all kinds of
Right.
stuff where that it could be tied into.
And like what had if we're all about this energy, this big collective shift
Hmm.
and da 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 da, what has this past year showed us when we had to stay at home and
Yeah,
work from home and go to school and live, like not go to restaurants, not right? It forced everybody to fucking
chill
stop.
out.
And it was really, I think it was interesting to see, like, oh, I got it, I can't. It's like, why? Where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? Can't
Right.
you just sit and stop and just accept where you're at? Or are
Yeah.
you going to
It,
focus on the
all
fears
the
and
external
worries
stuff.
and the
Yep.
stresses, of the outside? It goes into every day of anything else you're doing in your life.
Yep.
Don't have the COVID fear of shit, what's going out. And I'm not talking about COVID or anything, but I'm just saying
I mean, yeah, no, it applies to anything,
it
anything
showed
going on.
us
Yeah, yeah.
to stop and to go, oh, I can do this from home, or I don't have to do it this way, or I don't have to be rushing.
Yeah, it's like I don't have to work as hard and be as away from home and do like,
Exert yourself outward so much
yeah,
where you bring it in, right, into your home, into your
your
physical
space. Yeah, you
home,
have to spend time with yourself now.
and I think for a lot of people, and I've heard, so many people talk about like, oh, I don't want to go, my work wants me to come back. I don't want to go back. I'm
Right.
going to figure a different way out, right? Because now they're going to think like, that's not what I want. I don't want to sit in traffic for hours to go and come back
Back.
and, like daycare or this or whatever it is. Like people are starting to see a different side that they had the opportunity to see
There's
if
an
they
option.
chose to accept it, right? If you chose
Hmm.
to see it and go, hey, I can choose differently. There's your opportunity. You had it. You had the whole world go, shut down, chill the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, and is that not just like, for instance, when you have those moments, right,
Mhm.
where you drive yourself so hard that you end up catching a bad flu because your immune system is so weak that you
Mhm.
literally essentially have to force you have to lay yourself out by getting sick so you will just take some time to rest.
Right. Yeah, because that's your body going, I can't do it anymore.
But then what do? Take
We keep
Dayquil and go
going.
back to work.
We keep going.
We take Dayquil and go back to work.
Hmm. We don't stop.
So bringing that back around to the whole idea of ways the ego makes us overfocus on stuff. That is one of them. The whole thing of I've got to do it. It's got to be done this way. This is the way that it was done in the past.
Right.
It's the way
This is
that
the
other
way.
people did it. So this is the way it has to be done. This is like I expect for things to go X, Y, and Z of way so that I will get X, Y, and Z of result.
Right.
And if it doesn't happen that way, something's wrong.
Yep.
And then that leads into a whole ego, like
Rabbit
emotional
hole.
mental breakdown spiral,
Yep. Hmm.
right? But all of it is, like you were saying, trying to show you where when you do the inner work and when you do take the time to sit down with yourself, where you can focus your questioning at yourself,
Hmm.
like where you're being triggered, what your patterns are, what are those destructive habits that you're doing that you're not realizing that you're doing, or you do realize that you're doing, but you're doing them because you think you have an obligation one way or the other, that you think you have to because of
Pat, right. Belief systems or
old
whatnot.
habits.
It is.
Right.
Yep. You, as long as I think you see it and you're aware of it,
Right.
and it's taking small movements to go, you got triggered and then you see the pattern of like, where's my, oh, this is it. I go to food or I go to
Mhm.
drinking or drugs or sex or, you know, get angry,
Whatever.
mad, and you are
Yeah.
hostile to your family members around, whatever that is, like catch it right there in that moment and just envision your body outside of it and going, why am I okay? That, like trigger it back, trace it back. And that's just like a start of an unraveling that you're always going to be unraveling something. You're always going to be over focusing on something, but that's just to go, I don't have to
aha.
do that, right? I don't
Okay,
have
wait.
to.
Okay. I see myself over focusing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I see myself
What
in
is this all about? Right? Why?
narrow movement that I
Right.
have to, someone's showing me this, and this is how these are the steps I got to take, and they're out of steps. No, I can't do,
Why am
you,
I stagnant in this pattern? Like, why do I keep trying to
you just,
apply the same process? And, like, yeah,
and when you just
it's a
get
clue.
out of yourself, literally get out of yourself, vision your body, your spirit leaving your body for a minute and seeing yourself on the other side, watching yourself. Go look in the mirror.
That's real hard for people.
When you want to heal and you want to be over it, you got to do the hard fucking shit. Sorry. Go look at
No,
yourself.
but I mean, it always astonishes me to remember how hard it is for people to look in the mirror. Like,
It's hard for
actually
me
look,
too.
right?
I am an amazing person and have dealt with shit and cleared shit and lots of stuff. I have a hard time looking at myself in the mirror sometimes in
Right.
certain moments. I do because I'm fucking human and I accept that. That's where I'm at right now. This is what I chose to do. This is the game I chose to play. But I'm going to do it on my terms.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a witness to it and an observer and learn to change those patterns or habits or cycles or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Evolve them, something.
Evolve them, right? But I have to be gentle and catch them and reach out to my support people and, you're going to go through it. So line something up for it. Find what you can fall back on. I'm having a really bad time, Daniella. I just need a bitch.
Girl, what you need?
And it's done. Thanks for listening. Okay, that's all I need. Bye.
Yeah.
Right? Or whatever. Like have
Right.
someone that you just need to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone to go, stop. You've told me plenty of times.
You've
And
told
put
me
me in
plenty of
my
times
place.
too. Look,
Right?
girl, stop.
You're just like, yeah, you're right. I know. You're so right. I hate you, but I love you at the same time.
Girl.
Right. Thanks for letting me see the other side, right?
But yeah. And if, for instance, you think that you don't have anybody or that you can't find anybody, there are all kinds of things like Meetup, for instance, which is this whole app dedicated to people that create events of all kinds, from yoga to meditation to channeling to group, like therapy set, all kinds of shit, all kinds of foodies, drinkies, I mean, like hikies, like everybody,
Yeah.
right? That you could go and just for free, as of your own volition, just go and check out new environments,
Mm-hmm.
find people, and go look specifically in environments that you think that you would find your people,
Right.
rather than just like relying on the people that you work with, which are not necessarily going to be your people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if sometimes when you work in your chosen field, not everybody you're going to run into in that chosen field are going to be your people or someone that you could take on as a personal friend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you sometimes got to go out and make those personal friends that you can have those connections with and they can have with you. But that's part of the inner work too, is to go out there and explore.
Right.
Part of finding out who you are, how you interact with people, how you make friends.
Mm-hmm.
And your ego is going to make you over focus and be like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, they're not going to like me. Oh, da 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 da. Or I'm not going to like them. they're not going to be, it's like, I'm too cool for school, or, it's like, there's going to be ways in which those layers of your ego are going to come forward and make you try and over focus on that. But it's like, for instance, if you really want to create that support system for yourself, there are ways in which you can go about doing it safely, for free, like in this modern age, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. And there's a lot of Facebook groups too that you can go
Yeah.
on and just look up for, like-minded people that you're running, witches groups or
Right.
paranormal groups or
Right.
alien groups or
Because, for
whatever group you
instance, yeah,
want.
Dallas and I met through initially an online course,
Yeah.
basically. And then
Mm-hmm.
there was a retreat that was separate. We both happened to go to the retreat, and then we got to meet physically. And then we were like, oh, yeah, we really hit it off like a house on fire.
And here we are.
And then that was history. And like, we're still friends, years after online, even though she lives on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And we only met once in
Yeah.
person.
For like a week.
Right.
Not even.
Right. It's crazy how that works out.
But right. So it's like, so you can find your people.
Mm-hmm. Don't
You
sabotage
gotta
yourself.
open yourself up to like going and checking out those things, or going and taking an online course in something that interests you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I hadn't taken that online course and that thing that had interested me, it's like how I met Tay. Same thing. Like,
Right.
if I hadn't taken an online course in something that had interested me, I wouldn't have met her, because she's took the same one. We met online. We were friends for years before we finally actually met. And then again, the same thing where we finally actually physically met and we got along with the house on fire, and then the rest is, history.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Right.
like, the options don't have to be limited as your ego wants you to over focus in on and say, it's like, okay, well, these were the ways that I had to make friends before, whether it be work, or I had to go out to the bar, or I had to, find it through my spouse, or I had to find it through my family, or I had, it's like, these were my only outlets of finding friends, or
Right.
whatever it is. These were my only outlets and ways of doing things. That over focus, like you said early in the podcast today, is just a flag, like, to show you where you've got belief systems or definitions or things or something that's what's creating how you're looking at it, what's closing you in, what's causing you to get triggered, what's
Right.
causing you to self-sabotage, what's causing you to overthink and let the ego run rampant,
Mm-hmm.
is this topic over here that it's all connected to. So if you let it be used as a flag anytime you have these overthinking moments and it seems to run rampant on you in one direction or another, you go, aha. So it's almost like this is the topic of exploration. It's like, oh, okay, so if this is the thing I'm scared of, oh, okay, well, this is the thing I got to figure out how to do now.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think
Right?
that's what
In
you
that
need.
sense, like if you want to take
Yeah.
it basically.
Right. Because I think
Hey, buddy.
what I've said, what you've said, it's a sabotage focus. We
Oh, yeah.
self-sabotage yourself. And how are we going to keep ourselves in our comfy little spots? By sabotaging what we could have. Oh, hi, Kiki. Oh, hi.
Mr. Shadow Man has come to lay his blessing upon said podcast.
His head blended in.
He's like, I'm
Hello,
into it.
Kiki. Oh, what is this? I know. Those eyes. No, he's telling stories. You see me, cat? You see me?
Go on, All right, there you go. There you go. There you go. But yes, so to that point, I think that's there's a good footnote. That's perfect. And perfect end of that. But you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that's, for instance, it's like talking about the ways that our ego can overfocus, different versions of it, that we've experienced
Mm-hmm.
and that other people might experience as too, but also kind of how you can use it.
Yeah, totally.
Because it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to stop there where you
Right.
go, okay, well, now I've accepted that I'm overthinking shit. What now? It's like, well, okay, That's showing you what to focus on. That's the what now. It's like, okay, well, if I'm scared to do this, well, then I have to kind of figure out a way in which it would excite me to go and do this,
Right. Yes.
because I don't think I'm good enough to do it. I have a belief, so it's like, okay, well, let's go follow this rabbit hole for a little while.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's just checking in with yourself and being aware of it. Like with anything else, it's just being aware of it and not circling down that rabbit hole. You will for a second because that's natural. But once you start doing it and catching it more often, then
Yeah.
that's where it happens so much more faster and you're more
Right.
aware of a lot of more things.
Yeah. And you can choose what rabbit hole you want to go down at that point,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
because
Yeah.
you're going to want to go down a few rabbit holes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
right? Like you're going down a bath bomb rabbit hole right now, like a spa line rabbit hole right now. Like you're totally rabbit holing.
Mm-hmm.
But
in a good way. It's an expansion way. It's in a way
exactly.
that I am learning so many different things about so many different things of.
But like 2 months ago, when you and I were talking about it, you were like, well, I don't know if I want to do, because I don't know if I can put it together, and I don't know what it's like, but that's the thing. Like, that's the little story that goes to show, is like that hesitance and that fear, that over focusing on, it's like, well, I'd have to get all this together, and I have to do this, 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 just in order to play around with making bath teas and bath bombs just for fun, just to see if you liked it.
Right.
It's like those were the ways that it was setting up for yourself to show that you were putting yourself up a barrier against something that you were curious about trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Shows you that that's the thing that you need to go rabbit hole down instead.
Right.
To go try and play with. Right.
Right. Because it was so much more than just putting a product together.
Right.
So much more than that. And it was the self-worthiness of things and, abundance and, so many whatever.
Right. So the negative spiral of the ego over focus actually will show you where you need to go play and rabbit hole down, like you said, in a positive, expansive way.
Right. Yes.
Interesting.
I like that. Yeah. It's pretty amazing how it works and how the universe and other people will come to you and trigger you. I mean, I think that's the main thing. People are going to trigger you, or the world's going to trigger you. Something's going to always trigger you. It's always about how you are going to react.
Yeah. What are you going to take away from that?
Are you going to overfocus and self-sabotage yourself? Are you going to let that overfocus be a tool, or are you going to let it be the end all?
Right. Are you going to stop yourself there? Yeah. Good question.
The choice is yours. The blue pill or the red pill.
Oh. And with that, thank you for joining us on this little chit chat on our podcast today, where we talked about like the different ways that our ego overfocuses and how we can actually use it. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys, and help shed some light on kind of that self-sabotaging habit and pattern, that I feel like a lot of us are kind of coming up against right now, because we get a lot of shit in retrograde currently when we're recording this. So a lot of people are going to be having a lot of stuff come forward and put in their face and not necessarily know what they're looking at or what to do with it. So hopefully that helps.
Just smile.
Remember, if the mirror is frowning at you, you don't go to the mirror and try to fix the mirror. You have to smile at the mirror for the mirror to smile back.
There you go. I like it.
Weird. So thank you for joining us, right? If this was helpful and you like it, share it out, like, subscribe, share, all of those wonderful things. Check us out on our multitude of platforms: Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Play, all of the wonderful things. Our videos are on, the videos of these recordings are on YouTube, and the straight podcasts are on places like Apple Play and Spotify, and our main hub, Anchor, if you guys ever want to just you know, contribute, sponsor, share. It's like a Patreon, all the wonderful things. So we've got all of that set up. And we'd love for you guys to share it out and help us help other people help themselves.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for joining us. We love you.
You too. It was a
And
blast.
we'll see you next time.